What is OSIMA Ball Reviews? Keegan here, and today we are going to be talking about arsenal building. Now, how I am looking at arsenal building does not involve hook potentials, it involves ball reaction shape. Because with speed and hand adjustments, I can always make a ball hook more or less, but the shape is inherent to the ball. So that's why I like to have different shapes versus different hook potentials. So you're going to see a lot of different balls around the same hook potential in my bag, but they're all going to have different reactions. And to me, that's the most important thing. Now, my arsenal is not fully filled out at this point in time. Kind of had a reset there, but I will be talking about the bowling balls that I will be filling in to the gaps. And I'm also going to be giving you a ranking system. If you're familiar with Luke Rosedal's Sports Essentials collections, you should already know the numbering system where like the one ball is the strongest, two slightly weaker, three, and so on, and down to 5. And that's how I've been organizing my bag recently, so that's how I'm going to explain it in this video. And I'm also going to give the shape descriptions of each ball that I'm going to be showing. But why don't we head on the lanes and actually look at what we're talking about. Here we have the Storm Nova. The Storm Nova is the slowest asymmetric ball I have ever thrown. Reads lane real early, doesn't have a ton of angle on the back end, which I actually really like. It's super controllable, and that actually makes it usable for me on a house shot. Whereas a lot of other ASIMs I just cannot use because they're too strong, too sharp off the back end. And for me, the reaction category is a 1T. It's probably going to be the strongest ball that I'm going to carry to a tournament, unless I get like a gem or reality or proton or whatever. And it just reads so early and is so smooth off the spot that attraction shape's the only thing that can describe it. It's like an ASIM urethane on steroids. It's great for me, but if you need angle, if you need boom, this isn't going to be the ball for you. If you want something like that, get like a dark code, get a Rubicon, not a Rubicon, get a RSTX2, that's the word I'm looking for. Moving on to the Zen Master. It is the slowest symmetric ball I think I have ever thrown that's not urethane. And I love it for sport patterns. I threw it a little bit at a tournament I went to recently. That was on 36 feet. I don't remember the exact pattern, but I love this ball. It's that urethane on steroids type look. Why people love the IQ Tour Solid. Why people love the original Idol. You get some reactive shape with urethane controllability, and it's just such a good package to have. I understand that a lot of people actually don't like this ball. That's why I got this ball, because I like those weird reactions. But this is a 2T ball, so is the next ball we're going to be talking about, but this is certainly my preferred 2T ball. And also it's just a great compliment to the original Zen. I don't like this ball. Storm Axiom, I can describe its reaction with the exact same things I used to describe the Zen Master reaction, but it does it worse. It's just, I do not like this ball. I've played with the surface, I've polished it, I've sanded it down. I don't like it. It may just be the house I'm bowling at. I don't like it. Just my opinion of it. But yeah, it's a 2T ball. Get the Zen Master if you like the reactions that I like. This is my favorite ball in my bag. Not of all time, but it's up there. It's like top 3. But I just love this reaction. This is a 2C ball. A 2C ball just means that this is going to be a little bit more round and have a little bit more angle on the back end than like the Zen Master and Axiom, but it's still going to be that similar hook potential, right? And I think there's a shot coming up where I get it out to the right a little bit, and it actually starts to shape back into the pocket, whereas like if I got the Zen Master or the Axiom out that far, they would just quit. They wouldn't have had the energy to make it back. But this Idle Helios, it just kind of does everything. It's one of my favorite balls of all time, and it's my favorite ball in my bag right now, and it's kind of what I compare things to, because this is the reaction that I'm most familiar with, because it reminds me so much of the original Idol. It reminds me a lot of the Phase 2, and it's just that type of reaction shape that I absolutely adore. Just that like rounder, symmetric solid that's not just like hook stop. This is a 2 blank. Why do I say it's a 2 blank? Because the Wild Streak is the best tournament ball of all time. I don't have a lot of time to talk about it, but it really is manipulative to your hand position and surface prep, and it's just so versatile and controllable, and it is my number 4 favorite ball of all time. Then the Zen. The Zen is a really interesting ball for me. It is a 2A, and it's honestly, I don't really like pro balls, if I'm just being straight up. I don't like how quick they can be. I loved the Spectre, but that was kind of an exception. I still missed that ball. But this is the next closest thing. I really like the Zen, especially when it starts to get a little bit later in blocks and I need to create a little bit more shape. It actually lets me do it because it has that cover that actually has a little bit of dig to it without it being, you know, just kind of, without it being smooth as well. It has a quickness to it and some dig, and it's just like really good balance. And I love this ball. It's a 2A, and it's one of the only angular balls that I'm actually going to say is a must-have for tournaments. 3C. It's a step down in strength overall from everything else that I've thrown, which may be counterintuitive when you're actually watching this video because it's actually hooking more, like more board coverage, but I don't look at how much it hooks, like visibly. I look at where it hooks on the lane, and it gets down the lane before it starts moving. But it's still that kind of like rounder shape off the spot, even though it actually does cover a good amount of boards once it starts moving. Granted, I also have it like 3K here instead of polish, but it's, the high road is kind of a staple. It's the true middle of my bag. Like reaction wise, not overall hook wise. It's actually near the bottom that way. This is the Roto Grip Height. It is a 5A, which is weird because it is moving the most amount of boards out of anything here except maybe the high road because of how much just energy it retains, and then once it hits that friction, it just turns. I am still trying to find the use case for this ball, but I have it in case I need it. I'm not a huge fan of these types of reactions, but they're kind of a necessity to have, because you never know when you're actually going to need a certain type of reaction. Now, I had a lot of different balls here, but let's talk about what I didn't have. I only had one ball. I only have one ball in my bag. Right now, one's getting actually plugged and fixed, but... So, the Nova is a good option for traction, but that's not what everyone needs for a one ball. So let's talk about the 1Cs. The, like, strongest balls in your bag, but they're the continuous type motion. I say go for the Proton, the Reality, the Gem. All of those, the RSTX1, if you have one, that perfectly fits that role. But it's like those rounder shapes that don't just like hook stop are like, those are also going to be the most versatile because you can polish them up, get a little bit more angle, or you can kind of sand them down and get them to act like more like a traction ball. They're really versatile balls, and Personally, I'm kind of waiting to see what comes next from the SPI brands before I try to start filling things out. At least at this like higher level of stuff, like 3 and above. But honestly, any of those I just listed are going to be good options for you. Then we go to the 1As, Dark Code, RSTX2, Altered Reality if you can get your hands on one. Those are going to be like the sharper motions of like this, and they're going to be the strongest version of those motions. That's kind of how I also rank it. It's just like a certain type of motion, the strongest version of it. Then we move on to the 2 category. I actually showed a good amount of, I actually covered all 3 bases, which kind of surprised me. But let's talk about the ball that I didn't show that I have the other 2 for. The Zen Soul is going to be categorized as a 2C. It's right in the middle of the Zen Master and the Zen in shape-wise. Phase 2 is a 2C as well, but it's going to be on the smoother side compared to the Helios and Soul, I feel. And yeah, that's really about it. Moving on to the 3 category, 3 strength, you're going to have the, let's talk 3T. You got the IQ Torque. What else do you really need? And then the 3A, High Road Pearl. And then potentially, because I'm just going to cover my bases here, you got like in the 3A category, potentially 2A, depending on how it matches up. You got the Night Road that's going to be coming, also in 2A, the Idle Cosmos. And then we move on to the 4 category. I don't have one. It's kind of a weird category. It's kind of a weird jump from like the entry level stuff to the mid performance stuff. But let's say the 4. On 4A, let's say, I don't know, Electrify Solid if you have one. The 4C, let's just put the Electrifies in that category, or like a Hustle or like a Hyped Hybrid, because that VTC Hybrid is honestly a bit stronger than the Pearl, and then like the Electrified Pearl for the Angular. Those are your kind of options. Then go on to the 5s. Hyped Pearl for me is a 5A. 5C for me is going to be the Hustle Camo. That is actually one that I'm going to be filling out my bag with. I'm going to be getting a camo. And then a 5T, let's throw in the PBR. It was pretty strong for its time, but that's still that sanded rounder motion. And you may notice, I didn't mention urethane. Urethane is a 6 ball. And there are different motions of urethane. Pitch Black is a 6T. It's the one that on 6 level is not determined by hook. It's just to categorize urethane. It's just kind of that extra ball, because urethane's kind of incomparable to reactive at this point. Rubicon UC3, that's going to be a 6C, and there is some 6A comparable balls out there. I would say Purple Hammer is kind of close to what you would want a 6A to be, because it does create a good amount of shape. But I think that new Attitude Control from Brunswick is going to be a pretty good step into that category, especially if you take it up to like 2K instead of like the 1000 that's going to come at. I think you'll be pretty good. But that has been Keegan with the Arsenal overview. This is just kind of like a big general video, and we'll be going more in depth in some videos coming soon. I have been OSIMA Ball Reviews. Oh shoot, I missed again, and I hope I don't miss y'all next time. Thanks for watching.